Hello, today I'm speaking with friend Toews. How are you in Canada?
I'm excellent, Alexandra. We are getting torrential downpours here. It's the wettest summer I can ever remember.
Oh, and we are going to speak about your research, and especially you are coming to Prague and speak at
Yes.
the conference. It's 2 days, two different conferences, 21st of July and 22nd of July in Prague, Lucerna, and Hotel Radisson Blu. And
Yes.
could you please tell us about your research or how you began with your research?
I would be very happy to. Thank you for the opportunity. So, I will start by saying that even as a young child, there was something in me that just did not believe the official version of the world that I was told. Always something that just said, look deeper. Things are not as they appear. So there was that kind of feeling in me for much of the time. Then certain things have happened, like pivotal milestones in my ability to wake out of the worldview that we are all kind of slumbering in. And I have to say that I personally am very grateful to many people who do research, who tell the truth, who put their story out there so that we can all benefit. And most of what I'm going to talk about is the things that other people have done that woke me up. So it was around 1983, I was going to go to Teachers College, and I happened to see a sign for a film called If You Love This Planet. And this was a documentary film made by the National Film Board of Canada about Australian physician Dr. Helen Caldicott. And as a physician, she had this campaign to talk about nuclear war and what that actually meant. And one of the great things she brought to consciousness was the emotional importance of examining it. There was a big push to talk about nuclear war very casually and in a cavalier way. And she really brought home the emotion of it, what happens from a physician's point of view. And so I am indebted to that film and her work. And so I was at Teachers College during that time, and I was so moved by that film that it literally changed my life. And I spent as much time working on that kind of awareness as I did at Teachers College. And in the community where I was, there were a group of activists working to educate the public, doing civil disobedience, peaceful actions to do what they could to stop what was going on. And I have to say that community of activists were so integrous. They talked and were very clear about using only peaceful means to get this message across. And they put themselves in harm's way in order to get that message across. And for example, there was an action that I was a part of. It was to bring awareness to, there's an industry in Toronto that was creating guidance systems for cruise missiles. And so there was this action planned in which we would go and sit on the road in front of that industry And we fully expected to be arrested, dragged off the street by the police, etc. And they just made it clear that we were doing this not only for the people who were awake, but the policemen. We were doing it for the policemen's children and for the workers in that industry and their children and the future. So I am really indebted to that group of people who awakened a consciousness in me, and they really contributed to the world. So the second major thing that woke me up was after the global economic crisis of 2008, I went to a documentary film festival in my city, and they were showing a film called Inside Job. So that's it there. And it talks about the world dynamics and who was responsible for that world economic crisis. And as I was sitting down in the theater, a person just incidentally joined me in the seat next to me, and we chatted, and I found out that he was a trader on the market. So then the film started, and it was very sobering. And after the film, he just got up and without a word walked away. And I literally entered a state of shock after that film. It wasn't that I was shocked by the film, but I entered into a real physiological state of shock. And for 2 weeks, I could not speak about with anyone what was in that film. It was so disturbing. And I came out of that theater with the horrible feeling that somehow I was complicit in that monstrous plunder of the resources of the people of the world. And so about 2 weeks later, I was finally able to begin talking about what I had seen. And once I was able to open up like that, then I was able to do things like I began an enormous amount of research. So I purchased the video Inside Job and looked at it very carefully. I followed up references in that film. I researched other films. So things like Capitalism, A Love Story by Michael Moore, Enron, The Smartest Guys in the Room, Client 9, The Story of Elliot Spitzer. And so that was a very consuming period of research. And I gave talks about what I was finding. I talked to everyone I could about it. So that was very important. So the next big event that happened was Fukushima and the nuclear disaster there. And because I had learned from Dr. Helen Caldicott about nuclear waste and nuclear war and what it does to people and the environment and animals and plants, I had quite a good understanding of what was going on. And so that opened up a whole other area of research. And that led me to HAARP and the theories of how that disaster was caused. And one of the principal people who I really admired giving information about that was Lorraine Murray, who is an amazing person. I only know her from her videos, but I am so grateful for the message that she gives.
Yeah.
Did you want to say?
Yeah, no, her face is on our poster, and she's one of the nominees for Prague Peace Prize 2017. But sorry that I have interrupted you.
No, you just get the feeling of what a beautiful person she is.
Yeah.
So then, and Alexandra, I'm talking, each of these subjects were hundreds of hours of research on the internet, books, and so on, films. The next major event for me was I was working at the health food store. I provided nutritional consulting for people trying to address imbalances in their lives, but doing it in a natural way. And so one of my coworkers took me outside because he knew the type of things I was researching. So he took me outside and he looked up and he said, "Look at the sky. There isn't one real cloud in the sky." And the sky was filled with these lines that looked like clouds. And that was my introduction to chemtrails. And that opened a whole new area of chemtrails, of research. And I started to carry my camera with me everywhere I went. I was shocked that I had never seen that before. And then I saw it everywhere. And I observed how chemtrails change, what they do. And so there was a great deal of personal observation, not just the research. But some of the research that I looked at was Dane Wigington. What in the world are they spraying? Why in the world are they spraying? And that led to more research about the scalar manipulation and the ultra-low frequency manipulation of the atmosphere through devices like HAARP installations all around the world. And other topics I have researched as a holistic nutrition consultant, of course, were genetically modified organisms, what glyphosate, the chemical, does in the environment, the amazing work of Dr. Vandana Shiva, Indian physicist, about the importance of saving seeds. What a brilliant mind she is. And the topic which is close to your own heart, NIBIRU, I came across as well and did many hours of research on that. So in a nutshell, basically that is the things that have brought me to this point in 3D reality, the things that I was conscious of in the outside world. And of course, what happened in 9/11, the disaster, and all the things that have been posted, the documentaries, I looked into that very deeply. And in fact, the day after 9/11 happened, I knew that it had been done by the covert government against the people. So, and I think, Alexandra, maybe one of the last things I can say, one of the things that has really helped me is I stopped having TV. And I started to research a lot of things. And that's been a wonderful course. And of course, all of this research led to my introduction to Sandra Effect. And then that begins a whole other area, really. And I will say, Spirit has created all of these things. Spirit put me together with Sandra, and Spirit has required that I devote 100% of my time for the last 4 years to the research with Sandra, which is what I will be talking about in Prague. And it's an amazing journey.
Yeah, and you are going to speak the 21st of July in Hotel Radisson Blu Crystal Ballroom, and it's on my homepage. And you are also going to take part of discussion and questions. The second conference, which is 22nd of July in Prague, but and Sandra is going to come also. But I know that you are going to come to Europe later in September, and it's the BASIS conference in Dublin in Ireland, and it's 15th to 17th, and both you and Sandra are there, and also Dave Staffen, who you do research together with also, I know. And then you are going to Britain also. I know that you are going to London and probably even Wales. It's what I have heard, but I don't know exactly. But what I know for sure that you are going to come to Prague, and I'm very excited to hear your lecture. It will be very interesting.
Yes, thank you, Alexandra, for the opportunity to speak today and to speak in Prague. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, friend. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
To Prague and speak
Yes.
the conference. It's 2 days, 2 different conferences, 21st of July and 22nd of July in Prague, Lucerna, and Hotel Radisson Blu. And
Yes.
could you please tell us about your research, or how you began with your research? Hello, today I'm speaking with friend Toews. How are you in Canada?
I'm excellent, Alexandra. We are getting torrential downpours here. It's the wettest summer I can ever remember.
Oh, and we are going to speak about your research, and especially you are coming.
You know, things are not as they appear. So there was that kind of feeling in me for much of the time. Then certain things have happened, like pivotal milestones in my ability to wake out of the worldview that we are all kind of slumbering in. And I would be very happy to. Thank you for the opportunity. So I will start by saying that even as a young child, there was something in me that just did not believe the official version of the world that I was told. Always something that just said, look deeper. And I have to say that I personally am very grateful to many people who do research, who tell the truth, who put their story out there so that we can all benefit. And most of what I'm going to talk about is the things that other people